B, ordinance number 2016-24. City Attorney, would you read the ordinance, please?
Yes, ordinance number 2016-24 of the City of Lake Worth, Florida, amending Chapter 7 Beaches, Parks, and Recreation, Article 1 Parks, Recreation Facilities, and Public Property, Section 7-1 Definitions, and Section 7-9 Regulation of Conduct in Parks and Recreation Areas and on public property to address the regulation of balloons and sky lanterns on city property. Accessibility to avoid conflict, conservation, and for other purposes.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
I need a first.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Did you have a presentation, Juan?
We do.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. Juan Ruiz, Leisure Services Director for the record. And to the right of me, we have a guest in the house from Loggerhead Marine Center, Demi Fox. And we're going to run through a quick little presentation that she put together for us over this proposed ordinance.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Demi. I'm with Loggerhead Marine Lake Center. We are a nonprofit sea turtle research, rehabilitation, and education facility in Juno Beach. We're responsible for monitoring sea turtle nesting on 9.5 miles of beach, rehabilitating injured sea turtles, and sharing methods for conservation with the community. Our major conservation project is Project SHIELD, and it allows us to work with boaters, scuba divers, fishing piers, and other stakeholders to protect sea turtles in the area. Through Project SHIELD, we have formed partnerships all over the world. The green pins you see here are projects that we're currently working on, and the orange pins are conferences which we've presented at. And an important component of Project SHIELD is pollution prevention, which is why we've started the balloon ban here. Balloons are often released accidentally or purposefully and end up littering the ocean. The depleted balloons resemble jellies, which is a common prey item for our sea turtles. And you can see by these maps here, each of these maps represents one species that nests on our beaches: leatherbacks, loggerheads, and green sea turtles in that order, and Palm Beach County is the most densely nested in the state. This year, our research team has been documenting the number of balloons that they have found on our 9.5 miles of survey area, and since March 1st, they have documented 568. That previous picture there was one of LMC's former green sea turtle patients who had ingested a plastic balloon. This turtle came into the hospital on October 21st of 2014 and also had propeller wounds to the carapace or top shell and the head. Unfortunately, this animal was euthanized on December 10th of that same year for complications. So our proposed solution is to collaborate with local municipalities and establish a balloon ban across approximately 130 miles of southeast Florida's coast from Jupiter south to the Keys. Educational materials are provided by Loggerhead Marine Life Center at no cost and may be distributed to people that wish to rent civic centers, beachside pavilions, hotels, and resorts, and this signage is also provided free of cost and is fully customizable to best suit the needs of the town. This is an example of the educational materials I mentioned. So towns may choose to participate in any capacity shown here. So level 1 would just be signage or educational materials distributed. Level 2 would be both signage and educational materials, and level 3 also includes the town ordinance. So Lake Worth has chosen, if this ordinance is adopted, to participate at the highest level. There are several benefits to partners of our balloon ban, including tours of Loggerhead Marine Life Center, seminars led by staff. You'll be featured on the conservation webpage and announced on our social media accounts, of which more than 48,000 people follow. That is a story that was printed on June 5th. It's an article about the potential balloon ban in the town of Palm Beach, published in the Palm Beach Daily News. The public's response was overwhelmingly positive, and dozens of comments such as "about time" and "please ban balloons" were received. Right now, 12 municipalities have committed to joining this balloon ban, and we are very happy that we have the opportunity to work with Lake Worth to include it as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Does this involve all city, Glenn? Could you just clarify?
My understanding is it is the whole city.
The original intent is all city property.
All city property,
All city
not
property.
private residences or
Oh, correct. Yeah, not private, I'm sorry, only public property.
public city property. Okay. Vice Mayor?
Okay, the obvious, I mean, this is certainly it's a worthwhile endeavor and attempt to protect the environment and wildlife. The question is, how are we gonna enforce it? That's the question. Is this just gonna be window dressing, put up some nice blue signs and whatever, how are we gonna enforce it?
How do we enforce, like, at our beach, the private parties at the pavilion, birthday parties and all kinds of things enforcing that?
A lot of it's gonna be on the front end of education. You know, you have to go through a process to rent a pavilion. Our applications can be updated. Obviously, we have staff that monitor our permits when they're issued for pavilions. Can we do that citywide at every single property? Probably not, speaking to Commissioner Maxwell's point. I still think that consideration can be done, and the ordinance can be amended to just go east of the bridge, which is our coastline predominantly. Something, not every city's going citywide property.
What do you do with, say, okay, so-and-so is having their quinceañera at the ballroom casino building and her family has erected a tower of those balloons that all tie together inside the ballroom?
That's fine.
That's fine inside? It's just outside?
No, it's prohibited
That's,
inside, outside.
I think you're,
It's a complete ban.
that's a rental facility, you're not gonna, I think,
That's not what the ordinance reads.
what?
The way I understood it, it was inside was allowed. It was just exterior.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. Indoor facilities are fine, outdoor, and it's the release of them in the outdoor space, like our pavilions are a big issue, but our ballroom is fine.
Inside.
Our Osborne Center rentals are fine, our gymnasium,
Or the person that gets married on the beach and they create an archway on the,
That would not be allowed.
that would not be okay.
Vice Mayor?
Still wanna find out, what's the penalty for somebody that violates the ordinance? And, where's the teeth and enforcement?
It's the right thing, it's the right thing to do, to
Yeah,
protect the turtle.
It's really not driven by a fee per se.
That's why there are two options that include education and whatever, as opposed to,
Well, then, are we
Enforce
is it really necessary to put an ordinance on the books? When let's be honest, it's gonna be difficult to enforce it, and just stick with a level 2. I mean, the education and all that goes with that. I mean, I'm not trying to be a naysayer here, but in a community that has as many issues as we have, with our sheriff's office doing all the things they're doing
code
now,
enforcement.
code enforcement and everything else, and we're adding one more thing that is it's important, but not everybody's gonna think it's important, but, this person may think it's important over on South D Street, and she's calling the sheriff's office. It's like, are you kidding me? You're calling me about a balloon? I'm dealing with something over here, So what is there a penalty, associated with this? And is it criminal, is it civil? Who's gonna do it, and are we just biting off more than we have to bite off right now? That's the question.
Why not? Well, the same thing when we did with the plastic bags. Commissioner Marson?
And that's what I was gonna say, I brought forward the plastic bag, it was the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. I agree with Vice Mayor on policing, according to the attorney, I don't think there is any policing. I think it's the right thing to do for the educational piece, and I had conversation with Juan, growing up, I grew up poor, my birthday parties were at pavilions and parks, and what's the favorite thing of children? Balloons. Unfortunately, it has grown to a point where, people aren't educated on the issue. If it was one thing for them to bring balloons out, have a great birthday party, and pop them and take them with them, or take their garbage with them, unfortunately, they're not doing that. They're doing this and releasing them. So, I think it's the right thing to do, and on an educational issue. And, we have a great visitor center, get the information out there. When we rent a pavilion, not renting a lot of pavilions at the moment, when we rent a pavilion, really stress that, yes, you can have a balloon, but this is the process, or, I'm more concerned with that we're just not gonna let them have a balloon in the Wingfield, play area in, certain areas. That's my biggest concern with it, but I agree that it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
Thank you. I would have to mirror some of these comments from my colleagues. I've talked before. I was very fortunate enough to have an experience working one summer with a surveying company recording nesting information for sea turtles with predation, disorientation, boats. The situation is pretty grave for sea turtles. If I remember the numbers correctly, it's like in a nest of 150, you have roughly 10 that make it to the shore and roughly one of those that makes it to adulthood. So it would seem to me logical to do whatever we could to lessen the effect that we're having on sea turtles. I do hear Commissioner Maxwell's concerns though, and I wonder if there might not be a different or better way to target this, perhaps in the sale of balloons, or the materials used for balloons that are sold. It seems that they're constantly coming up with new organic, biodegradable materials that can be used for different things. Is there a possibility to write an ordinance that provides that balloons be made of some a biodegradable material or something like that? So I intend to vote in favor of this, but I also see how it's kind of it's more of a sentiment to put out there, but how do you actually make it happen? Certainly at the beach, I would like to see it added to a list of things that police were enforcing on. We are going to have some new police up there, so potentially we do have the possibility to enforce. So again, I am very in favor of it, but I hope that we will continue working together and possibly create new ordinances that can attack the issue more effectively.
Pamela? Yes. The motion on the floor and the second, we have the motion in the second, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
That is to accept the ordinance with the highest level? Is that how it's worded, City Attorney?
Yes.
It's level 3
With the
coming.
level 3? Okay.
And just,
And who made that motion?
That was by Commissioner Meyer, seconded by Commissioner Amoroso.
Okay. So that's with the level 3. Okay.
if I may, I can go back and take you guys' comments and amend the language, because when it came forward, it was a boilerplate language as other municipalities have adopted.
Okay.
So
We
we
need
can go back.
we need special treatment in our waterfront
Tweak it to
areas.
make sense for our
Yeah.
properties,
Yeah.
specifically the beach, since there is a commercial component to it that has weddings. And through education, we can still get at and proper disposal of balloons and make sure that those things are taking place, that the balloons don't get released into the air or disposed of properly. So there's an awareness piece, from the staff level, that we can ensure that it's followed through with.
Well, I personally am comfortable with approving a level 2 at this point without issue, which includes the education, so that doesn't stop and we don't stall it, and then look at how to reword the third thing so that we're actually representing our constituents and the needs of certain specific areas and what's used to happening in them.
And to the vice mayor's point, I had asked Juan, we take a deposit for our areas. And I said, maybe we need to look at taking a little bit more deposit and then also policing that deposit. If your garbage is left behind, if you leave balloons there, if you've released balloons, if we, have that, then we keep your deposit and make it part of our education process that's very, put out there that we will keep your deposit if balloons are released, if,
The education component to me is most important.
And then
I don't even realize it.
I just wanted to make a point, I know you're just a representative from Loggerhead, but I went on the Loggerhead site and Lake Worth is already on your list of that participate, and we don't,
Okay.
so.
I thought the ordinance was written, so I
Yeah,
included you with it.
so, we haven't yet, we most likely will after tonight, but, we were already on there, I don't know how long we've been on there, but,
We have a motion and a second now on the original, which is a level 3. Go ahead.
Would you mind to put the levels back up there?
And I'm suggesting to revise it to pass it at a level 2 now, so that we actually start the education process, but come up with better wording for the areas, especially the waterfront areas, and have staff come up with something reasonable that they can enforce. And that won't affect some of the other city properties that really aren't an issue.
I agree.
Is that okay?
You know, and again, if I may, I just, you know, it's a great thing to do. It's the right thing to do, as it's been said before, but I just, one thing I hate about ordinances, if you can't enforce them, why have them on the books? Because, you know, those type of ordinances are so rarely reported, and, you know, the reaction you get from staff and or law enforcement is, look, I got more important things. It's not something we deal with every day, and they're just gonna dismiss it. So, you know, if we can come up with, hey, you know, and to Commissioner, I think it was Commissioner Meyer's point about additional law enforcement on the beach. If it turns out that we have a greater presence on the beach ultimately, yeah, maybe we can go back and look and say, hey, look, we're gonna, you know, from the intercoastal or whatever to the, you know, whatever, if you call it with a balloon, you're going down, you're gonna do the time, you know. But
We're gonna put you in balloon jail.
that'll teach you. We'll find
It's a big
a
puffy
balloon
room.
guy to come make balloons for you. But seriously, you know, I just, you know, we send a mixed signal to the community when we put things into law that we can't enforce. It's like, you know, yeah, whatever.
I understand. Commissioner Emerson?
Just
One more,
real-
let's get
Just real quick, on the beach, I don't know that we have, we need the policing, so to speak, because we have Lauren and her party facilitators, and they are not allowing the brides to have balloon arches on the beach. You know, they're very specific in what they're doing, and they're already policing that, so I don't know that we'll have that. But, you know, we just have to change our motion if that's what we choose to do.
Or do you wanna keep your motion as is the question?
I want this to get support, so I am going to amend my motion to get the other commissioners' support. I don't want this to be the last time that we see you, though. I would like to rewrite this ordinance so that it has teeth,
Yeah.
which is really what I think the sentiment is up here. We don't want to pass something that doesn't have teeth, so let's keep working on this. I would like to amend my motion to change to the level 2 commitment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Ms. Fisher, I'm sorry, I didn't see your card.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with putting in place an ordinance on the waterway. I think we should know that Palm Beach County, and put this ordinance in effect in one of the county parks for a year test period, but just one of the parks on the waterway. So I would like, if you're gonna do an ordinance, that you consider whether it's appropriate for all city property throughout the city, or more for property that's located by the water. And I guess I need to remind all of you who were on the Grapes of Wrath and the purple balloons that were part of the costumes, that in the future, the city commission would have to adjust their costumes. I know you didn't,
I have no
because,
balloons.
because you had actual grapes.
I have grapes already.
We all had grapes, nobody had balloons. There were balloons on the raft
There were
itself,
purple
yeah.
balloons,
There
yeah,
was.
so, just to pass that along, I would like to see it, limited to places where it would definitely have a more, immediate impact on Ceylon. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion, amended motion on the floor, and a second. All those in favor, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously, and we'll look forward to seeing you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.